Yeah, coming in live at the Wisconsin Live Desk. So delighted that you're with us, and we are happy because we're going to keep you safe tonight. We have everything going on. As I was saying, Holly, as we were kind of prepping here, we got a smorgasbord, if you will, of a potpourri of weather. The only way that we can do this is Wisconsin style. So we got, from what I am seeing and from what you weather experts have been telling us, we got the snow, we got the wind, we got the obviously
Rain?
the sleet. I was going to say the rain. And we also we can see plows out there right now dealing with the brine, but we also have the beauty of the snow. If you are able to stay off those roads, sit back, watch this come down in your area, please do so, because those snow plows really need room to get their work done. And not only that, the fewer cars and the fewer congestion out there, the better and safer it's going to be. Yeah.
Yes.
So how would you describe this weather event that we're about to get into?
I would call it more of a messy type of a weather event. It's going to be very different from what we saw during Thanksgiving weekend, where the snow that's still out there basically is, it's going to be different. More of a messier. It could cause for a lot of dangerous travel because on the backside of this, with temperatures dropping, we could have freezing on the road, so that's not always good. Maybe snow's not the problem, but ice could definitely be the problem with the commutes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, you can't see that ice. And we saw a lot of that slick coverage when our photojournalist Jake Salzburn was out there a little earlier today. So that's the concern is even if you think, oh, these roads are pretty good, there could be that thin layer of ice that you just can't detect.
Right. And it's all going to look different. Some of it will be super shiny like black ice, and some it may not. It may just look like the road is just wet overall, but then it could be very, very slippery when you're stopping because it could be a little bit of slush too that makes you kind of slide. I've slid in both of them, whether I'm on foot or even in the car. So it's very hard to watch. That's why it's best for everyone to try to avoid being on the roads. But if you have to be, you have to take it very slow because of the situation. And the visibilities are not going to be the best either.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Talk about the winds and how that would play a role, because we don't have a lot of snow right now. We do have some on the ground that's very hard, but is wind really going to be a factor in this?
Yes, on the back side of this system. So tomorrow morning for sure, the wind is going to be a very big problem. And here's why. It's because we're going to have the snow coming down. So with the wind pretty much being at full force, it's going to be blowing the snow. And what that does is reduces the visibilities. Another thing with the wind is going to be very dangerous with the wind chills. Wind chills, as temperatures are dropping, and then you have the wind playing a factor, that's going to make it really cold and very easy to get frostbite, or especially if you're outdoors for a long period of time. So just keep that in mind when you're out shoveling, that it may be a little bit on the colder side.
Yeah, exactly. I love keeping my FOX6 Storm Center app at the ready. It is a free download. We want our weather experts, of course, to guide us through this, but it's a great download. If you don't have it, great time to get it. It's going to give you a really good play-by-play as to what's going on and exactly what we are seeing. We're going to go ahead and bring in Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks right now, because we want to go ahead and get his take on this from the weather deck, because you can see the snow coming down just at a really, I would say, a gentle clip right now, Tom. You look like you're really in your element. I know you were tidied up in front of that fire ready to go, but you're also doing a lot of work right now because this is something that obviously we really do need to keep our eye on.
Northwest, this Clipper system now coming through the middle part of the country. And what's going to happen here, we've got big flakes flying on our weather deck right now, but you see the mix down to the south. It's raining down in Rockford, Illinois, and that activity is heading in our direction as our temperatures rise, warmer air coming in on the warmer side, so to speak, of this storm system. So here in Milwaukee, we're about to transition in the next few hours to this mix of sleet, freezing rain, and snow, and eventually over to all rain for a time before we get in on the backside of this system overnight with more snow on the way. So bottom line, it's a mixed bag around here tonight. Yeah, that's a great question. And I've had a lot of questions from viewers about that of, is this going to be enough rain to really melt the snow? And we've had quite a bit of snow around here over the last couple of weeks. And I think the answer is overall no. I mean, yes, we will, of course, melt some of the snow as the rain falls tonight. It's going to be a relatively brief window of rain, maybe 3-4 hours before we transition back over to snow. But here's the deal with that is anything that does melt is going to turn back to ice, right? As we drop in temperature into the morning. So that's a concern for the morning commute, number one. And number two, as we transition back over to snow, as we cool down by morning, we're also bringing on the wind. And that's going to be an issue. So snowy and windy for the morning commute tomorrow, with winds possibly gusting over 30 miles per hour. So that could create visibility issues in addition to slick roads. So, you know, a lot of the focus for us here has been on tonight, right? With this wintry mix coming through. Hey, watch out for slick roads and so on, which is a big deal. But I also am trying to emphasize to our viewers locally, hey, look, do not fall asleep on tomorrow morning, because that's probably going to be a bigger deal in Milwaukee than what will be happening tonight.
Absolutely, Tom, and I think that that's so important because, again, all this is, coming down. We're going to check in on the roads in just a little bit, but, tell us what you are watching right now. What areas and what should drivers really be concerned with? I'm looking at one of our DOT cams that'll pop up in just a minute, but if people do have to head out and about, third shifters, maybe somebody who's got to, make a run to the store or whatever.
100%, Steve. And again, it gets cold up here, right? We're hardy folks here in Wisconsin, but this is more like February type cold for us. And usually we get, maybe 4 weeks of really Arctic cold in January, February, and that's it. This is very early for us. And yes, we're talking about low temperatures below zero, wind chills -15, maybe -20 at times Saturday morning and Sunday morning. So this is bitter cold, and our high temperature, Steve, likely won't get above 10 over the weekend. So yeah, it's going to be brutally cold. Of course, not only for us, a big chunk of the northern part of the country, but yes, this is a big deal. So it's the snow and the mix tonight transitioning to the cold over the weekend. I think it's probably half and half. I think there's half that's like, you know what, I'm not even dealing with it.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, Mary Stoker-Smith joining you here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. So happy that you're with us. We are monitoring a winter storm, we'll call it, here in southeastern Wisconsin. Right now the roads, the snow coming down very lightly, and the roads appear to be clear. The crews out there, the plows, really doing their work right now. We're going to give you a look right now at some of our road conditions, and it appears as though right now in some areas there is a lot more snow cover to our north. We just took Lambeau Field, and Lambeau was really pretty dry, but if you go directly west, right above Eau Claire, this is in the Eau Claire area, you can really see that snow has accumulated at this point. A lot of cover on the road right there, trying to make out, I think that just froze right there. It looked as though the traffic was pretty light, which is great. A lot of people heeding the warnings to stay off their roads and let the plows do their thing. But in our area, you know, it's not too bad at this point right now. I want to show you a weather graphic right now. We have had our meteorologists and weather experts talking about exactly when this heavy snow band is going to move out. And so as we can see here, you can see it moving in and then probably not clearing out for a while right now, that satellite and radar. We're going to bring in weather expert Holly Baker to really kind of delineate this for us and show us exactly what's going on. We have a lot of precipitation right now going on right there. A lot of cloud. I want to say like the double whammy. We got a lot of different things going on right there. Explain exactly what we're looking at, Holly.
Okay, so we're looking basically at the snow, but you also see the pink. That is the snow mix, so that's going to consist of rain, even a little bit of sleet, and some snowflakes. And then you have the rain that's just south of that, which is all in the green in Chicago. So what's going to happen here, you do see these little air particles, or these wind particles, I should say. That's indicating that the wind is coming from the south, so that is bringing in warmer air. So that is why you're seeing a little bit more of that rain and snow mix there. And then you also have the snow that's going to continue to, as it continues to push through, it's going to continue to transition over to more of a rain and snow mix, more of a mix than anything, especially for those areas south of Milwaukee and including Milwaukee. Now, areas north of Milwaukee and even as far north as Fond du Lac and areas further north, they're going to see a little bit more of that snow, not necessarily any of the rain and snow mix. Now, as we look at more of the graphics, if I'm going to ask Mary, are we able to flip through these graphics here?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's take a look at, do you want the graphic to the radar? That would be pretty good.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go back to G1, you'll see here, this is the sky vision. So this kind of shows you how long this will actually last in our area. So this is around 9:30 p.m. You start to see a little bit more of that rain and snow transition, and it continues to transition as we head throughout the overnight hours. And as we continue to go throughout the early morning, that's when we'll start to get that snow. Now, this is where the accumulation is going to come from. And the winds are going to pick up, as we talked about earlier. We could even see a little bit more of that lake-enhanced snow. And this is by early Wednesday morning. From there, we're just going to have the skies to be clearing, but the colder air is going to settle into our area, as you see. And then this is a look at those snow totals as we go into Tuesday night, into Wednesday, 3 to 5 inches for areas north of Milwaukee, and then areas just south, maybe 1 inch. And then we have a very small area that will get 1 to 3. Now that further north, Fond du Lac County, northern Fond du Lac County, I should say, in Sheboygan County, they're going to get possibly 4 to 6 inches of this snow that's falling. That's because they're going to see more of the snow. Meanwhile, we will see a little bit more of a mix. And as we go throughout the rest of the week, you see their temperatures get colder after tomorrow. Temperatures will be dropping during the day tomorrow too, and we got negatives to arrive with several more snow chances. But if you want to go back to that radar there, Mary, that right there, you even already start to see it transitioning more into that snow mix for a lot of our areas. But the areas north, that's really where the bulk of the snow is going to fall this go around.
Yeah, boy, that looks so ominous right now. It really does look like, boy, that could be a situation, right? Like when you see that heavy snow cover right there, those bands. And explain it quickly before we get off that graphic. Holly, what are the pink bands right now? Lovely shade of pink. What does that mean?
That is the snow mix. So that's going to consist of your sleet, rain, and even a few of those snow flakes that are easily to melt. And then the green is basically all rain. And then you see the snow there. You got lighter snow, which is going to appear to be more of the white color. And then that purple, that's going to be the heavier snow.
48% of the
That's going to be the heavier snow that's going to push through the area.
All right. Well, Holly, we really appreciate that. We're going to just come back on here and Cameron, we're going to let you take a quick break on there. We want to get out to the weather deck too at some point to see exactly what's going on here in Brown Deer right outside Milwaukee. But again, coming down very lightly at this point. And well, let's check in with Tom right now. He's out there on the weather deck. So Tom, you know, it's looking like right now it's just one of those general snowfalls. We don't want to, you know, give people though this false sense that, okay, this is kind of going to be just something that they don't have to worry about, right?
Right. And you know what, Mary? It is beautiful, right? And that's really the positive part of this, if you will. It's really a beautiful snowfall falling, but we just have to be mindful that it could create slick spots because we do have temperatures that are still below freezing. So that is going to mean that we could have slick spots here and there. Now, Holly just mentioned that wintry mix, right? That's going to be coming up as we go throughout the night, coming up from the south. In fact, I don't know if you guys could pull up G2 for me, but we can show you again that radar, kind of go through this a little bit as the snow flies. We have the fire going out here on the weather deck, but we have the snow here in Milwaukee right now. But because areas of low pressure spin counterclockwise,
That's the problem. Is I don't know what happened with that second
air
line, but
coming up from the south and the southwest. So that's going to allow our temperatures to go from the upper 20s right now into the lower 30s in the next couple of hours. And that's what's going to support that transition from snow over to sleet and freezing rain, and then eventually over to all rain. Now, Holly pointed out Rockford, Illinois is reporting all rain right now. Well, we're here in Brown Deer in northern Milwaukee County, and we are all snow. And I just wanted to find for you the differences of the mix types. Sleet is ice pellets. Freezing rain, it would all fall as liquid, but then freeze on contact with the ground that is below freezing. So once temperatures get above the 32-degree mark, which we're expecting in Milwaukee tonight, that should allow that precipitation to either be sleet or eventually all rain, especially along and just south of the I-94 corridor. Meanwhile, our northern communities under that winter weather advisory will stay as all snow throughout the night. And Holly showed a moment ago, that's where we're expecting the 3 to 5 inches in West Bend, up to about Fond du Lac, but then lower amounts to the south. So with time tonight, the snow that we're seeing on the weather deck moves north, and the mix and the rain down to the south also come into our direction. And then as the low swings through, the wind changes direction. Again, that counterclockwise rotation, right? So overnight, we're going to see the wind coming in out of the north. It's going to pick up, and everyone is going to transition back over to snow if you're not going to be at snow already. And then I think tomorrow morning is what we need to focus on here. Again, not saying that tonight is not a big deal in the sense that we could have some slick spots here and there. We want people to be aware, but also not alarmed. This is not a massive winter storm coming through. It's a nuisance storm that's going to produce a mixture of precipitation and slicken up the roads. Tomorrow morning, also a nuisance, but a different kind in the sense that we add wind into the equation. And when we do that and you tack on some decent snow flying around, and Holly mentioned the potential for some lake enhancement as well, meaning some heavier pockets of snow, that's going to create visibility issues for us on our Wednesday morning commute. So that's why I think, tonight, especially if you're hanging out at home, just, not driving around, you don't have anything to worry about with this activity. It's just going to be, again, a pleasant little snow until we transition over to rain. But here's the deal. Tomorrow morning, it's not only the wind and the snow that will combine at the morning commute to create low visibility, but it's also the fact that, think about this, as we get rain in spots tonight, like in the Milwaukee area, that's going to melt some of the snow. And so it's going to be water, right? Well, what happens when water freezes? It turns to ice. And with the temperature dropping, we're going to get that freeze as we go into the morning hours tomorrow as well, which is why I really think the morning commute in Milwaukee tomorrow is a bigger deal for us than even what we're experiencing tonight for, number one, of the factors that I just mentioned, but also because we're going to have a lot more traffic in the morning than say we are throughout the evening hours. So that's kind of a layout of this. Again, just to kind of put this into a summary mode for you, you know, this is not a major winter storm. It's a nuisance storm for us. It's an advisory level storm in our northern communities. Again, 3 to 5 inches of snow farther north. Milwaukee will probably only end up with an inch, and that's really going to be tomorrow morning, but it's more of the impact of this, and it's going to be a nuisance. But again, you know, if you get into an accident tomorrow on your way to work, well, now that kind of ruins your day, right? And so that's why we're on here on Fox Local tonight, is to just bring you the weather information. We are here with you all evening long to bring you the weather information. Should we get any accidents tonight, of course, we are on the roads. We're all across the area. We're keeping you posted here on the latest weather information to know that, you know, we're going to be here tracking it all night. But, you know, this is not like the system we had a couple of weeks ago with a foot of snow or anything like that, but it's the impact that is a bigger deal than, say, snow totals or something like that. And again, some of you, especially I-94 and south, are going to be all rain by later tonight for about a 3 to 4 hour window between 9 p.m. and midnight, or 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. It's going to be all rain. And then, of course, that's going to freeze, and we're going to get some snow and some wind. So that's going to be the issue there. And we haven't talked about the cold for the weekend yet, because it's going to be bitter cold and probably not even 10 degrees for a high by Saturday and Sunday. And, you know, I was just talking a few minutes ago with our friends at Fox Weather in New York City, and we were talking about just how unusual this is for us, Mary, because as you know, this is January, February type snow, January to February type cold, right, by the weekend. But if we can put a positive spin on it, and Mary, as you know, we have had issues, and we've done stories with snowmobilers, winter recreation, ice fishing, snowplow drivers that have all been hampered by the fact that we haven't had a lot of winter weather, right, in the last several winters. So I think a lot of folks are rejoicing at this as well, you know, especially folks that are doing all the winter recreation or depend on this for their livelihoods in the winter. You know, they're getting a workout. Snowplow operators and crews, they're getting a workout for sure with all of this snow that we've been having.
You know, the ski operators, all the ski
Yes.
hills, I mean, everybody. Yeah, this is so nice, especially as we come into the holiday season and the kids getting out of school, etc. You know, a lot of parents are like, okay, let's take them sledding, or let's take a ski trip, whatever. So it is a lot of good news. You know, for people, it's Wisconsin. It's what we do. We appreciate the snow. But again, we want people to be weather aware because we have seen the conditions out there at times deteriorating, and we want people to be very safe while enjoying our snowfall. Tom, we're going to check back in just a little bit. Hard to leave you, my friend, because that is such a beautiful picture on the weather
it's
deck.
like a Hallmark card, isn't
It is like a Hallmark card. If you can just sit back, sip a little hot cup of chocolate, and watch it come down, and worry about the shovel later, yeah, it's your perfect night. So we'll check back there on the weather deck in just a little bit. Thank you, Tom. We really appreciate it. Good to see that it's coming down slowly but surely, especially right now, you know, just before 7 o'clock, 6:55 here in the Milwaukee area. Some people getting home from work, maybe you made a quick grocery run to gather all of your milk and your bread and a little bit of cookies and snacks that you need. So it's good that the snow is coming down. But again, if you can get off the roads and stay home, we really do advise you to do so. So with that, let's check out our photojournalist, and that is Jake. He is headed down in the car right now. He's staying safe. He's keeping a very good eye on the roads. But we want to make sure that we get an idea of what's going on the roads there. And for that, we bring in Jake right now. And so, Jake, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great.
Can you hear me?
I can, Jake. Jake, tell us exactly where you are. Earlier, during our 5 o'clock newscast, you were in the Fond du Lac area. And when we started with you at 5 o'clock, the roads appeared to be very slick and not really snow covered. And the other good news was at that time, even at 5 o'clock in the Fond du Lac area, there wasn't a lot of traffic. So tell us where you are now and what kind of company you have there out on the roads.
Well, right now I'm going back towards Fond du Lac County, and the reason why is I was going towards Sheboygan County, and then I started seeing the snowfall a little bit and accumulate a little bit more. And I remember seeing all the models before heading out that all the snow would start necessarily in that Fond du Lac area. So I'm kind of heading back towards Fond du Lac, but it is pretty windy right now. The wind has picked up. I can feel it brushing against my car and pushing against our truck here, driving on Route 23. And so you can feel it a little bit. The snow is coming right at pretty much at the vehicle. That's kind of the way the wind is kind of blowing, is towards the vehicle. And so the snow is definitely falling. The roads themselves have been looking a little bit better. Now the slickness itself has not really gotten any worse, I would say, since the 5 o'clock hour. It hasn't really gone up. It hasn't really gotten any worse of making any turns or anything like that. It seems like everything of that nature has been going good. The traffic itself on this route going into Fond du Lac has been very little. This is probably the most cars I've seen. On the roads, per se, once this snowfall has kind of started developing here in Fond du Lac. But there is nothing really much, Mary, but I'll just send it back to you at the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Jake, it seems as though that traffic is really slow. I know that it is a Tuesday evening, but that's kind of great news for those plow drivers to get that brine down there. So that's the good news, if anything. So, yeah, you keep chugging along, and we're going to go ahead and check in with you in just a bit. But again, great job out there. Please stay safe, and thanks so much for everything that you're doing out there to keep us weather aware. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Jake. Well, as you can see right now, it looks as though, again, the snow coming down at such an even clip. Very nice. Plows out there doing the brine and clearing the roads, so things appear at this point to be pretty well under control. But again, got a long night ahead of us. Snow is expected in several areas, and the accumulations, they could vary depending on where you are. And not only that, it's still cold out there. Not the bitter cold that we're going to see toward the end of the week, as our weather experts have shown us, but again, enough that you need to be prepared. So we're going to take a quick break here, check on some other areas, and we're also going to give you some very important information on warming shelters, and we're going to give you also an idea of what you need if you do have to head out into the elements. That checklist, that's always a great reminder. Keep it right here on Fox Local. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk, everybody. Mary Stoker-Smith joining you here from our coverage of all the snowfall that we are seeing here in southeastern Wisconsin right now. We just got to look at the roads with our photojournalist Jake, and the things look to be pretty good right now. Snow coming down at a very easy clip. We're going to check back with Jake in just a moment. But first, let's give you some important graphics right now because it's still cold out there, and there are warming shelters. There are plenty of opportunities for people to get warm, particularly if people do need coverage during all of this snow coverage today, snowfall. And as we saw on the 6-day planner, which I'll show you in just a little bit, it's going to get even colder. So right now, the warming shelters have just opened. They opened from, as you can see there on the graphic, 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. One is the Guest House in Milwaukee, Unity Lutheran Church, Joy House for Women and Families, Milwaukee Rescue Mission, and then, of course, St. Ben's Parish. And a lot of that is, as you can see there, a lot of those things are obviously available for men, for women, for singles, for families. So it's so important if you do know somebody who needs shelter, and if you are seeking shelter, those are the places that you need to go. So we're looking at that. And while we're at that, let's go ahead and look at that 6-day planner because we felt that little bit of a warm up today after all of this bitter cold. But as you can see there, so important for those warming shelters to be utilized even throughout the week, because by the time we hit Sunday, we're looking at a -5 as a low. And again, frostbite can set in, as you know, in minutes. And so important to seek shelter. And if you know somebody who does need that shelter, to make sure that they can get the care that they need. In the meantime, let's go ahead and give you a look kind of around town right now. I wanted to take you up to Green Bay again because it's funny, they often get a lot of snow cover up there, maybe even more so at times than us here in southeastern Wisconsin. And right now, yeah, they're looking pretty clear. Traffic moving at a pretty good clip in Green Bay. Not any snow that we can see from our current cameras coming down right now as we look over at Lambeau Field. But as we take a look around western Wisconsin, different picture right there, and that is right in the Eau Claire area. As you can see, it's from our 94 DOT cam, I-94. Snow was falling at a pretty good clip a little earlier. It looks as though that picture is frozen, so it may still be coming down, but I just wanted to give you an idea of the crowd cover right there, or the cloud cover, and also the snow coverage right there. As you can see, they got a lot more in western Wisconsin than we are seeing right now, but that definitely will change. We're going to go ahead and check in right now with our chief meteorologist, Tom Walks, because he's been giving us kind of a play-by-play on all of this. And I mean, it's really interesting to see as we look around the different areas, different areas obviously being affected in much different ways, Tom. And that's the thing. We can look out our window and think, oh, okay, we're okay. But then we look at another area where that cloud or that snow cover is really coming down. So give us an idea exactly of, what we're in for in general in the Milwaukee community right now.
Yeah, so it's interesting, Mary, because the snow is actually getting a little lighter right now on our weather deck. But, you've been showing cameras, right, from across the state, especially up to the northwest towards Eau Claire, where roads are snow covered. And what's going to be happening throughout the night is, especially our northern communities, will get the most snow out of this system. Again, 3 to 5 inches. West Bend, Beaver Dam, up to Sheboygan and Fond du Lac, lower amounts south, and maybe about an inch or so in Milwaukee. And then you'll notice, so I want to point this out as well, and I think this is kind of a good science lesson for us here tonight, because you'll notice the pink. And then you see how just in the last frame it just kind of goes away? It's really important to mention this is not only when you're watching us here on Fox Local, but when you pull up radars on your apps on your phone, what you're looking at here is a radar estimate. So the radar is actually, its algorithm effectively in the radar is estimating where, based upon temperatures at various levels, where it thinks we are seeing the sleet, the snow in the mix. See what I mean? So that's why it's bouncing back and forth. It doesn't mean that it's disappeared. It just means that the radar data, as it's computing it, kind of thinks it's going away. That's not necessarily the case here. So it'll come back in likely in the next frame. But as it goes away, you can see the rain and the snow next to each other, and that's an indicator of the rain-snow transition line, which is also what we call this pink area. So what's going to be happening as we go throughout the night is these temperatures are going to go up. Now, we're at 30 on our weather deck right now, and as temperatures go up, we're going to see that mix coming in from the south, especially after 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. The winter weather advisory in effect for our northern communities and Jefferson County. That runs until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Interesting here that you go just north up into Manitowoc County, and they have been upgraded now to a winter storm warning. Why is that? Well, they issue winter storm warnings when we could see snow totals in excess of 6 inches. So that's an indicator that they're going to get more snow just to the north. And this is why we've painted on our snow total map the extreme northern fringes of Fond du Lac and Sheboygan counties could be in that 4 to 6 inch range, and then higher the farther north you go. Let's broaden the view out. This also gives you a really good idea of what's happening here. Area of low pressure pushing into Minneapolis. That's called a dry slot in meteorology. Drier air wrapping into the area of low pressure, and that means Minneapolis is about to dry out for a time. We are on the front side of this system. Winds are coming in out of the southwest tonight, so that's going to bring that warmer air heading in from the south. I mentioned we're at 30 here at our Brown Deer studios. We're going to go up to the mid-30s later tonight, and that's going to support that wintry mix coming in from the south and eventually a change over to all rain. Look at Chicago. They're all rain right now. So that's going to head in our direction and probably reach about the I-94 corridor later on this evening into parts of the overnight. So that's why we're only calling for about an inch of snow in Milwaukee, but that's probably going to be tomorrow morning as we are on the back side of the system. So as the low pushes through, we get in on the back side, the wind changes direction, we get colder, we get very windy, and we get snowy into the morning commute tomorrow. So again, in the short term, just to kind of reiterate here, is this a major winter storm? No, not for us in southeastern Wisconsin, but it's a nuisance storm, that's for sure. And the fact that if you're driving around tonight, it's likely going to be slick. The farther north you live, the more snow you're going to get. The farther south you live, you're not going to get much snow out of this system. But again, the impacts, I think, are going to get higher for the morning commute tomorrow because of different ingredients. And you know we talk about ingredients all the time, right? And in this case, for tomorrow morning, the ingredients are strong north winds gusting over 30 miles per hour. Snow flying around potentially at a good clip, and the fact that any rain that falls tonight and or melted snow, because we're going to get warmer, is going to refreeze as temperatures drop throughout the morning tomorrow. So icy conditions potentially. So that's what I mean by, you know, I know we look at this and go, ooh, look, the radar is really colorful, and yeah, there's snow and there's all this stuff. Yes, but when you factor in traffic on the roads for the morning commute and all of the ingredients that I just listed, now it becomes a bit of an issue for the morning commute tomorrow, probably more impactful than for folks sitting at home tonight. If you're just sitting at home, which we appreciate you watching Fox Local tonight, hanging out, watching Fox Local maybe on your mobile device or on your television, that's the place to be tonight, right? Hopefully it's warm and cozy and you can just kind of stay inside tonight, but the impact overall is going to be less than tomorrow morning as folks are heading to work and school, right? Now, the other question, I've had a lot of questions tonight. Do you think school's going to be canceled tomorrow? Now, of course, disclaimer, I don't control any of it. I have no control over any of that. But I would say probably not. I mean, maybe we see something in our far northern communities, depending on how much snow falls and what road conditions look like in the morning. But at least at this point, I would say, kids, do your homework, because you're probably going to end up having school tomorrow. I don't see this as being a school canceling type storm for us, at least at this point, unless something changes there. So again, Mary, this is coming in pretty much as forecast. Snow transitioning to a mix, transitioning to rain in Milwaukee later tonight. We'll have an update for you coming up in a couple of minutes. So, and I don't know if, I can't hear you, Mary. I'm not sure if the mic is potted up there.
Can you hear me okay now?
Hello, Mary.
Yeah.
There you
I was
are.
going to say, you know what? That was a joke, because oftentimes we say we're going to mute you. Now you muted me. You
Wait
did
a
that on
minute.
purpose, I think.
Wait. Oftentimes you say you're going to mute me. I've never heard of this
Oh, we did.
before.
Oh, I thought we said. I thought we said that out loud. Thank you for everything. Oh boy, it's been great though to give that really thorough look in there. I mean, you've been so thorough about that. We really do appreciate it. So Tom, we're going to check in a little bit later. I know you got a lot to look at right there. A lot to do, and so we really appreciate it. Right now, we're going to bring in Ashley Sears. Hi, Ashley. It's great to see you out there. It looks as though right behind you, That snowfall is coming down light and easy, and it's a winter wonderland. It looks beautiful. Tell us where you are.
Yeah, Mary, we are in West Bend, but it really honestly feels like we're on the set of a Hallmark movie tonight. We started to see the snow falling around 6 o'clock. It was very light then, and it has really picked up now,
MCD.
in the last hour or so. It's starting to coat the ground here, and it's really beautiful out here, and it's already starting to cover the streets a little bit. But right now it's not too heavy or unmanageable. I know that Tom Walks had said that it will pick up and the roads will become slicker a little later on. But right now it's that beautiful time where the snow has just fallen, and we're starting to see a lot of people coming out here. We're in Settlers Park here in West Bend, and they have this beautiful Christmas tree out here, and they have this amazing sleigh that you could take some pictures in here. So we're seeing a lot of people using this as a photo opportunity. We spoke to a woman with her grandkids. I'm gonna get in the sleigh here. I don't know if Eric's okay with this. He's laughing at me behind the camera. We spoke to a woman who was out here with her grandkids. She says every year after their Christmas concert, they come to this park here to take pictures, and she says she can't remember a time where there was snow falling, where it's so magical that it really made for a great photo op. It was like they were having this amazing photo shoot out here, and we interrupted it and said, hey, can we talk to you for a little bit? But it's really pretty out here right now. Very light, very fluffy, and people are actually really liking it. So
I so want your
nice out here.
Yeah. You know, Ashley, I know you can hear me. I so want your daughter to be out there for you guys to do your Christmas card bend too, because that is, I wish you could see what we're seeing. I mean, it's absolutely magical out there right now. It really is.
Yeah, you know, I told Eric, I said, I think I know where I'm going to take my Christmas card picture next year. I'm coming out here, but we need to make the forecast perfect, where we could have the snow falling in the background, the tree, you know, glowing and glistening, to make this perfect backdrop. But, I mean, you know, we talked to a lot of people today who said, like, they can't remember a time where it has been this cold and this snowy so early in the season that they're really surprised by it. We talked to a business owner earlier today, and he said he's loving it. He's already like selling out of things, and he's like, I don't remember a time maybe in the last 20 years that I've had business like this in early December. And he said some of his distributors said, watch out, there might be shortages of snow blowers and salt as we move on in the season. But right now business is booming for him. So there are people who really enjoy this.
And a time to play catch up, because even last year, the year before that, with less snow and a mild winter, a lot of people depend on it for their livelihood. So it's beautiful. And Ashley, in your tenure here, I've seen you out in the elements. You have covered the snow that is beating your face. It can be punishing, the winds and the temps. And all things considered, I mean, if you have to be out there, it's at least livable. At least, you know, you can get a hold of it, right?
Yeah, right now it is. I'm hoping that it stays this way. I know that we could expect maybe some rain as we move along, because we're going to try and travel through the viewing area here a little bit. That might not be so fun when it starts to rain and when the wind picks up tomorrow. But right now, I'm enjoying this. This is the kind of weather coverage I like.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can all agree on that. Well, that's great. I know you talked to some people. We're going to get a little bit of more info on that a little bit later. But for right now, we'll let you go and see if that snow continues to fall at a, we'll call it gentle rate there in West Bend. Beautiful. Just a beautiful shot. I can't wait for you to see yourself on that sleigh. Thank you, Ashley. It was really gorgeous. Appreciate it. That's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. A lot of people finding a great way to just enjoy it, as we saw Ashley there. Get out and play with it if you can. And if you don't have to drive, of course, we want you to stay off the roads. Let the workers out there do their job to make sure that the roads are safe. We're going to check back here with Tom Walks. He was out on the weather deck, and he decided to come in, not because, as we have mentioned, that it is so cold out there, but also because, you know, we just want to make sure that everybody's staying safe. He's really working on those modules, if you were, so we want to make sure that he gets up to date there, as you often are, Tom. And are you seeing things change, or are you seeing things steady? Because I was watching you work back there.
Yeah, pretty steady overall. Let me start out here showing you the local radar, because we had an update from Janesville. Janesville is 34 in rain right now. So again, I talked a minute ago about these radar estimations, and that's what it's estimating the precipitation type based upon temperatures and so on. And so you can see Janesville is right on the edge here. So the official observation, or the OB as we call it in meteorology for short, is rain and 34 in Janesville. And this is where temperatures are going to be critical as we go throughout the night. And I'll get into this more here in a moment. But we've got the snow flying. Where Ashley is in West Bend, they're probably going to stay more as all snow. Maybe a little bit of a mix later on tonight, but generally all snow, 3 to 5 inches northern communities. But as you noticed here, we've got a little dusting here and there across the area right now, but most of that's going to melt, especially I-94 and south, because we're going to transition to more of a mix and rain as we go throughout the night. So the winter weather advisory up to the north and off to the west, running until 6 a.m. Of note here, winter storm warnings farther north. That's where the heavier snow is going to fall. In fact, we just heard from the Storm Prediction Center. You haven't heard that in a while. They're the folks that issue severe thunderstorm and tornado watches across the country. They're based out of Norman, Oklahoma, a federal government agency affiliated with the National Weather Service and NOAA. But they also look at heavy snow parameters. And so if the snow gets heavy enough, they'll put out an outlook, which they have for the western part of the state of Wisconsin, and just indicating that there are 1 inch an hour snow rates out here. So there's some good snow flying, and that's going to impact areas, especially off to our north, possibly into Fond du Lac and Sheboygan counties later tonight. But that's why the winter storm warning is in effect farther north, because that's where the heaviest axis of this snow is going to be. Now, before we get in on the backside of the storm, you see the dry slot here, area of low pressure coming through Minneapolis. Once we get on the backside of this thing in the morning, we got the wind, we got the snow, we got the low visibility to contend with. But before that, being on the warmer side, so to speak, let's talk about what that looks like here. You can see the rain right along the border right now and up into Janesville. So we still have the snow flying over the city tonight. Look at this, we're up to 30 degrees. Winds are now out of the southeast. By the way, if you are sensitive to big changes in air pressure, you're probably feeling it tonight because it's a big area of low pressure and our air pressure is low. It will continue to drop through the overnight hours as the core of the system comes over us, and then it will go back up during the day tomorrow. But temperatures are critical here. So 32 Bristol, 32 Walworth. You can't see it on here, but Janesville is 34 right now. 30 South Milwaukee, 27 Kewaskum. So this warmer air is going to continue to come in from the south, probably reaching about the I-94 corridor as we go throughout the night in terms of that mixture. So let me go back again just to show you, now that you know the temperature structure, right, from north to south, why we are calling for that mix potential, which is over the border right now, to continue to work north. And that is because areas of low pressure spin counterclockwise. And you can see that, right? Look at the snow here, north to south. Look at the precipitation here, southwest to a little bit northeast, right? So you can pick up that rotation there, that broad rotation, which is that counterclockwise wind flow. So this is why that mix down to the south will head in our direction. And it's not just the precipitation, it's the associated temperatures as well, right? So that's why we're going to be surging above freezing in Milwaukee in the coming hours. And that is why we're calling for a mix of sleet, freezing rain, and eventually all rain, at least for a brief time later tonight. Then, as the dry pocket, or dry slot as we call it, comes through overnight, we may dry out for a brief time. Then the wind changes direction to the north, and that is what brings in the snow and the wind on the backside of this system. So even if you switch over to a mix later tonight and even some rain, everybody gets in on the snow as we go through the overnight. And I'm going to show you here real quick too. I just want to pull up our snow total map for you because I think it really goes to show, again, the system as a whole here. This is what we call a clipper system, meaning that it moves through very, very quickly, so it doesn't last overly long, but at the same time, it does pack a punch in spots. So this is also a good indicator here of the breakdown of the system. Remember I showed you that winter storm warning way up north into parts of Manitowoc County? We have that dark blue area might just hug the south side of Lake Winnebago into North Fond du Lac, for example. Far northern Sheboygan County, likely north of the city of Sheboygan. That's the 4 to 6 inch range up there, and maybe even higher than that farther north. Most areas, though, 3 to 5 inches, so long as you stay as snow. Beaver Dam, West Bend, possibly into the city of Sheboygan, but Sheboygan, since you're right on the lake, I mean, you could be on the lower end of that, depending on lake influence. Then you'll notice surrounding that, so let's say Germantown into West Mequon, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, Watertown, 1 to 3 inches there. It just depends where that mix and rain line sets up, that rain-snow transition line. Then what you're going to notice here is as we go down to the south, it gets lower, right? And that's because you're getting more into the warmer air, more into that mix. So Kenosha, Lake Geneva, hey, for a change, you're not going to get much out of this. But even with that being said, whether you're south or whether you're near the lake, where again, we're expecting lower totals, maybe a total of about 1 inch in Milwaukee, and most of that will come tomorrow morning. Don't just look at this and go, oh, well, you know, Sheboygan, West Bend, Beaver Dam, you're going to get the most snow out of this. And if you're in Kenosha or Lake Geneva, you go, I don't have to worry about it. Don't have that type of a mindset, because it's not about how much snow falls, it's about the impact, right? So if you get icing conditions here in the next couple of hours in our southern communities, that can be worse than 2 inches of snow, right? Because you can't see the ice. So that's why you need to be careful, number one. And number two, all of us just need to be mindful in the morning for the morning commute tomorrow that as temperatures cool and as the wind picks up, we're going to have low visibility with snow for the morning commute. But also, if we get up to 35 degrees and we have rain and we melt some of that snow, it turns to water, and then we drop below freezing by morning, well, that's all going to turn to ice, right? So we could have some ice to contend with tomorrow morning as well. So again, it's not just about, you know, what is falling, it's the impact of that as well, Mary. And so that's why we really want to drive home the point. No, this isn't a major snowstorm by southeastern Wisconsin standards, but it's the impact. And that's why we're on here with you with Fox Local to just continue to remind you, you know, just be safe. If you're shoveling the driveway tonight, if you're walking the dog, just be safe, be mindful of the weather, not only tonight, but also tomorrow morning.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, thank you for that. We really do appreciate it. We'll let you get back to work there, and we will check back for sure shortly. That's great. We want to check in with our photojournalist, Jake Salzberg, right now. He is driving around right now safely. We want to make sure a couple people have said, is he safe? Is he good? They care about you, Jake, but we know that you are out driving around right now, and you've been giving us a bird's eye view, so to speak, of the roads here in southeastern Wisconsin. Snow coming down a little bit heavier than the last time that we checked in with you. Tell us exactly where you are, my friend.
Yeah, I'm almost in downtown Fond du Lac on Main Street right now, and there is a lot more snow covered. Last time you checked in on me, Mary, there was really no snow covering the streets, and now here we are with snow only covering the streets, and you can barely see lines and where the turn lanes are here in Fond du Lac. And I mean, the snow flakes are heavier than they were earlier. It's coming down at a more rapid pace. There is a lot more slower traffic here in downtown, as it is only a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. We are going below 20 right now. Just everyone's just taking it slow. The people that have to be on the roads here, either coming home from work, going to work for those that work third shift, or maybe just getting out of wherever they were at before that snow hit here in Fond du Lac. But there's just a lot more snow coverage. There's more slipperiness. I saw a couple of cars when they were trying to stop at a stop sign, so sort of slide past it just a little bit. Safely, though, they did make the stop, and they did not go over into the street. But then the slipperiness, the snow is kind of picking up here, and so all that is accumulated to a lot more harsher driving conditions. So just got to be safe on the road. Just need to take it a little bit slower. If you don't need to be on the roads right now, you need to be able to maybe stay at home and just be able to kick back and relax. You don't really need to be out here. Let the crews and kind of get to work here. I've seen a couple of snow plows running through here, mainly on the main roads first, to try to get them covered, as they're kind of more of the top priorities than some of the side streets here. But then they're going to slowly make their way to the side streets, to this main street, and find a way to clear out and make it a lot safer and make it a lot better. I've seen a lot more salt trucks out coming into Fond du Lac to try to avoid any more harsher conditions and kind of get them to be better road conditions out here. But Mary, there's a lot more of snow out here, up here in Fond du Lac than maybe down by you guys.
Yeah, and amazing when we saw you a little bit earlier, as I mentioned. Boy, you are definitely getting more of the brunt of it, if you will. We were, again, we checked in at 5, you hardly had anything, and now you can see the snow coming down again at more of a gentle pace, but enough to provide some accumulations as we are seeing there on the roads. Haven't seen any plows right now, of course, as you have been driving, but we know that they are out and about. So, Jake, thank you so much. We're going to continue to let you, you know, tool around those areas there and check on things and make sure that the roads are clear and safe. You are going slower than usual, though, right? Not that you speed, not that you ever speed, but I can tell that you've slowed down.
No. I go the speed limit, Mary, and right now I'm going below the speed limit to keep in traffic with everyone else and make sure everyone else is getting there to the places that they need to be safely.
Right, absolutely. All right. Well, Jake, thank you very much. We will check back with you shortly. If you do have to be out and about, and again, you have to go to work tonight maybe. Maybe you've got a quick errand to run, wanted to run to the grocery store for a few goodies to get through this. We do know that you have to be out and about, but please take it easy, take it slow, give yourself plenty of distance between your car and the other. And we also have something very important. I love this. Every year we give you a storm car checklist. This is your snowstorm car checklist warning, so to speak, because right now a lot of people may be kind of out of sync with it. We had such a mild winter last winter, not now. When you are able, if you are able, make sure that you check those engine fluid levels. We have heard this time and time again. Obviously, when you see the ice coming down there and all the debris, all of the slush coming up on the roads, it's so important to have those fluid levels at the ready so that you can go ahead and make sure that you're full and your windshields are clear. Also, car batteries, huge. As we saw from the 6-day planner, those car batteries can drain in what seems like, you know, a day, like if you're out and about. And so make sure that your car battery is up to speed and snuff. Check your tail lights and your headlights. So important to have both of those, that are tally lights rather, and tail lights, headlights, everything in between. So important, especially if conditions do continue to deteriorate and we get a lot of snow cover. That snow can come down at a heavy clip. So important for other drivers on the road to see you. And this is something that I learned not that long ago, is that the synthetic oil is a much better driver than the other oils this time of year. You're going to get more bang for your buck, if you will. So you want to keep your oil obviously at good levels, and that's the synthetic that usually does a great job there. But again, as you can see there, even if we take a look at that graphic, I'm going to pull up the 6-day planner right now just as a reminder. Those batteries can drain in a second. As you can see here, by Saturday we're at 11, and by Sunday we're at -5 for a low. And if your car has to be outside, never a good thing, of course, with that type of temperature to keep things you know, intact there. So make sure that your car is in prime check if you need to be out and about on the roads, of course. We're taking a look around the area right now and keeping our eye on the roads. Before we take a break, I'm going to give you a look at the Marquette Interchange. We saw Jake there. We haven't taken a look at this Marquette Interchange. I always think this is a good indicator of the winter conditions out there, how cold it is, but especially how traffic is moving. A lot of traffic on the road. People maybe still coming home from work or headed to an event. Not a ton of traffic, but traffic moving at a pretty good clip right there. But you can see there, especially on those interchanges, on the overpasses right there, they can be slick and snow covered pretty fast. So if you are headed out and about, that's a look at the Marquette Interchange, something to expect. If you do have to be out on the roads, take it easy. If you can, stay back, let the plows clear the roads and do their job. Please do so. They ask people who can stay at home, please do so. We're going to take a very quick break and come right back here as we're going to give you a look around town and continue our Storm Center coverage right here on Fox Local. You can also check us out on our YouTube page and the Fox Local mobile app. And also, as much as we rely on our weather experts and meteorologists, the Storm Center app, it's a free download. It is worth its weight in gold right now. The FOX6 Storm Center app. I check it early, check it often, love it. Hopefully you do too. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. Keep it right here on Fox Local. Take a quick break. See you on the other side.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk on this Tuesday night, 7:35. Mary Stoker-Smith coming at you here from southeastern Wisconsin, and we are experiencing just about everything. The good news is this isn't a major snow event like we are often used to here in Wisconsin, but we just got a lot of moving parts here. We have wind, we have that kind of sleety, slushy stuff. I'm going to ask Holly about one of my favorite things, so to speak, in just a second, but we also do have some accumulation, and of course, we have that ice that is sometimes very easy to slip on, very hard to see, very hard to drive on. So we have a photojournalist out in the scene there. We'll give you another look at his location in just a bit, but we do want to check in with weather expert Holly Baker. She is good to go. And Holly, one of the things I was kind of joking at, one of my favorite things to talk about during a snow event is Grapel, because we just learned about this. I did, and maybe the last year, but it can also be very, punishing. Last year we had a Grapel event and I stepped outside and I got pelted. Do we have Grapel with this particular event? Riddle me that, my friend.
And then I can show you a little bit more too. If you press G1, it'll pop up with my graphic. There we go.
Okay.
And I will, I guess, try to get back on here so they can see me too.
Yeah.
But no, not necessarily seeing a lot of Grapel. More of the sleet will be possible, and you can even see that here, where you see the pink lining there. That is the rain snow line. So that is where you're going to see most of that sleet to be in the area overall. Now, eventually, more of this rain, sleet, and even some snow will continue to push from at least the south all the way to the north. Now, as you see here, a little bit more of that rain is for where Waukegan is. Eventually it will be where Kenosha is as well. We'll just work with this graphic for now. But overall, you do see that this is the mix. It's going to continue to push northward there, northward. And that is because we have the southerly flow of the wind right now. So because of the warmer air from the south, it's technically melting the snow that is falling or in the upper atmosphere. And that is why it's transitioning and turning over into rain and even a little bit more of that sleet. Now I'm going to move over here to one of our next graphics just so I can kind of show you what exactly we could look at as far as this radar being pretty much looping and live for you. So there we are. Do you see it, how a little bit more of that rain is starting to take over for some of those southern communities? Yeah, that is because of the southerly flow of the wind. That's exactly what we're dealing with at this point. And now as I move forward here, I'm going to continue to look and try to get these graphics to play forward. Just a second, if you bear with me here. But we do have mainly most of the snow to be really towards the northern portions of our areas. Now, this is what I'm trying to show you guys here. So you will see with that snow, it's going to continue to, because we have the wind from the south. The only reason it's because from the south is because this is technically a low pressure system. And with the low pressure system, pretty much the winds technically spin in a counterclockwise direction. So with that being said, we have the wind and it's going to be moving counterclockwise. So by the time we make it in the morning time, that's why we're going to get more of the snow in the morning. That's also why we're going to have those temperatures to cool off even more. Right now we're having wind from the south and even the southwest. That's going to continue to bring in the warmer air once again. Then you'll start to see this transition more and more. You see the snow here. It's going to continue to transition more and more into that rain. And then from there, not a lot of areas will see this big snow accumulation. It's mainly going to be the areas north once again here. And then you also see here, we do have those colors where it's white ranging all the way to white to that purple color. The white is the lighter snow. Now, as you get to the purple color, as you look here on the legend, that shows you that that's where the heavier snow is going to be. And you look at our viewing area specifically here, you do notice that that's where all of the heavier snow is. So we're expected possibly for areas in Fond du Lac as well as even in Sheboygan and areas north of that. Could see roughly 4 to 6 inches of snow. Here's a bigger look at the picture. More of that rain is down south. Now I'm going to move over here so I can give you more of a snow total so we can look at how much snow is actually going to be falling in our particular area. As I get to that,
though you do see that there's still a lot more of that snow to come, specifically for really central Wisconsin and even those areas just south of us. And we're going to get to that in just a second. Let me just get to, I'm trying to find, there we are. This is our snow graphic here. So this is the snow totals of what we can expect. And so this is why we do have the winter weather advisory that is now in effect all the way until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Well, most of the accumulation is going to happen tomorrow. And this is what we're expecting. So you see this blue here, darker blue, that's the 4 to 6 inches that I'm talking about. A very small window of those northern communities will also see about 3 to 5 inches. And then just south of that, that clips off Waukesha, Watertown, even Fort Atkinson and to Madison. They'll see roughly 1 to 3. And then you notice here, we do have some areas near the Port Washington area. They're a part of the white. And so that's where they will see more of a mix, as well as really that's going to be a trace to 1 inch. So not a lot, even for Milwaukee, not a lot of snow. Mainly, this is going to affect the commute in the morning. The commute in the morning is going to be very, very dangerous for some people because we have different things that we have to watch out for. The visibilities, because the wind is going to pick up. Visibilities will be low at that time because we have falling snow and you have wind blowing. That pretty much makes the snow look like this while you're trying to drive. So it's not going to be very clear visibilities. On top of that, we're going to have the snow coming from the north. We have an opportunity for some lake enhancement with our snow as well. So with lake enhanced snow, we'll have a band, but it's going to drop a little bit more of that snow just in some of those areas just along the lake there because of the lake and the enhancement that's going on. That's why we'll see some lake enhancement, because we'll also have those winds coming from the north. And then another thing we have to worry about is temperatures dropping and the refreezing of some of this ice or snow that has melted. It'll refreeze and it'll become ice and very icy for those roads. But we definitely will keep an eye on everything with you guys, and we're going to turn it back over to you, Mary. I can't hear you, Mary.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Okay. No, you're keeping an eye on things. Holly Baker, back there. Thank you. Keep working it. All right. We are going to keep an eye on the roads right now. I'm looking at multiple screens right now. Before we go to break, I'm going to leave you with this beautiful, beautiful shot. We have a lot more to get to, but we need to take a quick break. But before we leave, we saw Ashley Sears right there and a picture-perfect Hallmark Norman Rockwell moment. Oh yeah, that's not me. That is West Bend looking beautiful tonight. Hopefully you can sit back and watch the snow fall. Stay safe and stay at home. Much more to come here in our snow coverage. Keep it right here on Fox Local. We'll take a quick break and come right back.
Hey, sorry about that.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, Mary Stoker-Smith back with you here during our snow coverage. We are so glad you're with us and we are so happy that we are helping you stay safe. Getting a little help too from Jake, our photojournalist out on the roads right now. Let's go ahead and take him again, giving a look. Jake, it's kind of like a movie. Things are evolving from the time we saw you at 5 o'clock till right now, 7:46. It's a completely different scene. There's a lot of snow coverage, as you can see there. I know you're really focused on the road, but obviously you can see there right off to the left and to the right, the snow is accumulating, and it looks like it's coming out at a pretty decent pace there.
Route 23 eastbound going towards Sheboygan County, and I was on this road earlier, and there was no coverage of snow. The snow has just started. When I came back on this road now, I saw a lot of cars on the westbound lane kind of going a little bit slower, on a slower pace. They were all in line with each other. There was no one trying to pass each other, and it's the same thing kind of happening here on the eastbound lane behind this FedEx truck there, and we're just kind of in one lane. The left side is pretty much almost the shoulder, a little bit more, and then the left-hand lane is all covered in snow. No one has touched that lane, it seems like. No one has tried to go in that lane, and everyone's just kind of been almost following the leader. Who's going to go first and clear the path, and then so on and so forth is going to follow, and this FedEx truck is kind of just doing that for me right now, as just kind of creating a path of where the snow is not going to cover the road, and the tires for us and the car behind me can kind of really get the traction of the road and not really have a sort of a slippery effect. Getting onto this road through some roundabouts areas, that was probably the tricky one. That's where you saw a lot of cars kind of either try to gun it or try to kind of turn it a little bit too fast, so the back wheel kind of dive out on them, kind of slide out on them, and then have to recoup themselves and kind of angle themselves back towards the road. But on here, it's a different scene for sure, Mary, than it was in downtown Fond du Lac, with a lot more snow and a lot more wind. I can say that, a lot windier.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks as though there could be some blowing there. You can certainly see that more than we did before there, which is really tough to keep a hold of. You know, it's hard for the crews to really do their thing, and it looks as though there's, quite a bit of accumulation, and that's what I'm trying to decipher. It's hard to see how fast that snow is falling. It looks like it's coming out at a heavier clip than before, but also, from my vantage point, it looks like the wind is really the pusher on this. Is that would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree that wholeheartedly. When driving on this route, there's a lot less coverage. There's no buildings on the side of this road. There's a lot more tree lines and then there will be no tree lines. So you kind of get away from that and you get that open field plane. That wind is just taking and just hitting the side of the car. Is just going to try to push, and then has a lot of drift effect there with all the snow inside on the road. Pretty much inside this lane, I would say you can see a lot of that drifting snow, and that's going to cause a lot more slippage if there's not necessarily another car in front of me creating a path, or kind of having be by yourself out here with that snow. But yeah, the snow is definitely coming down at a way faster clip than it was at where it was last time.
Yeah, and it seems as though, Jake, a lot of people are staying off those roads. You certainly don't have as much traffic, even obviously the time of night has something to do with it, but it seems as though people are really kind of heeding the warnings to stay home if they can.
Yes, and if you do not have to be on the road, so let's say to go get some food, maybe you can order something, or maybe you have something just leftovers in the fridge, and you don't really need to go out. You're not having to go to work. You just kind of are just sitting there at home. Stay at home. You don't need to be going out on the road. Then allows the crews to kind of get out here to carve that path, to be able to clear this snow, put down some salt and some rain, just in case of this, if some rain comes through and starts making this more of a slicker area. You have to allow crews to be able to do that. But if you are going to work, take it slow. If you are having going on the roads, be slow. Go below the speed limit. This is a 65 mile an hour high route, and I'm going below 50 right now behind this FedEx truck here, because we just want to be safe. We want to be able to get to our destinations in a more timely manner, but in a safer manner.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jake, we really do appreciate it, and we can tell that you have slowed way down there. We appreciate everything that you're doing out there, staying safe, keeping us safe, but you're also in command there on what looks to be a very snowy and increasingly more problematic road in terms of visibility and able to navigate that. So we are going to keep checking in with you. We'll let you keep driving there, but thank you. And again, make sure that you stay safe there. Appreciate all that you're doing. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you a look right now at, we'll say goodbye to Jake for just a little bit, but I wanted to show you something that I thought was kind of interesting. This right here, you're used to this shot, but you can't see what it is right now. That's the Estabrook cam. And you can see there that our camera's right there covered in all of the, presumably a little ice on there and some snow coverage right now. And it just illustrates as well, this isn't just a snow event, it is still really cold out there. We did get some information from Milwaukee DPW just a little bit ago. Our web crew sent me something that says DPW just in. Crews were called in for the light band of snow that came in overnight. Drivers are urged to be very careful during their morning commute. They are ready with additional crews that are expected to come through and clear those roads tonight, because we know a lot of you have to still get to work tomorrow, get to school. Crews from DPW will be out there, but you can see just by that, the cold and of course that snow setting in, and that's why we are under a winter weather advisory here in southeastern Wisconsin. But again, usually it's a beautiful shot from our Estabrook camera, even during the snow, and we're not seeing really a whole lot of anything right there at all. So as we take a look too around the area, I'm going to give you a graphic right now just to kind of show you some of the moving parts. I know Holly was talking about the illustration there of the band that is moving in, and as you can see, that's going nowhere fast. We are under that cover of snow, and so it's going to continue to accumulate, and of course our weather experts are going to be watching every single phase of this, from the satellite and radar to, of course, the graphic that we just saw. So let's go ahead and bring in weather expert Holly Baker. Holly has really been on top of this, as well as Tom Walks, of course, just making sure that everything stays as absolute up to date and up to speed as possibly it can be. So Holly, I know things are kind of changing. It almost seems like by the 5 minutes. Bring us up to date here on what we're seeing and what you're seeing on that satellite and radar, if you will.
Yes. Now, the consistency of this snow, can you hear me okay, Mary?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
The consistency of this snow is not the powdery. This is more the heavy, wet snow, and a lot of it is probably melting, especially for those southern communities. It's probably melting as soon as it's pretty much falling on overall any surface, right? So we're going to start here. You see a little bit more of the pinks, and you see a little bit more of the greens, and you also see the snow. Well, the pink is going to be more of your rain to snow mix, so a mixture of rain and snow. Could even be a little bit of sleet pretty much in there as well. Then you know the rain, of course, that's in Chicago. And then we're overall seeing a lot more of that snow widespread across the state. Well, what's happening at this point is we do have a southerly flow of the wind, and this is a low pressure. Technically, when you have a low pressure system, those winds spin counterclockwise. So they spin kind of like this is what you're seeing. So we do have the southerly flow of the wind, and that's also causing the little bit of snow that we are seeing in those southern counties to melt or pretty much transition over to the snow mix and even the rain. That's going to continue to happen. So a lot more of these areas that you see in Milwaukee that are seeing snow right now will eventually start to have that transition over into a little bit more of the sleet and some rain mixed in as well. And then as we head towards tomorrow morning, that's when we'll really start to see the bulk of the other half of the snow as it comes down, and we'll start to get the northerly flow of the wind. Here's just a bigger look at the system. Overall, not the most biggest system that we've seen. I think Thanksgiving weekend was a very big system. This one is a little bit more on a minor overall. I mean, we get the snow that's moving through, but it's not going to be as drastic or widespread. We're seeing a lot of snow. Let's look here at our sky vision, though, as we plan ahead. You already start to see here where we're having a little bit more of the divide. That's basically what we're seeing as we head closer to around 9 o'clock. this is what we're looking at. More of that, because we have those winds from the south, you'll start to see the melting there. So you'll start to see more greens, and then you'll see the pink. That's dividing the snow and the rain. That's your rain snow line. So that's where the sleet is going to be. And look, it goes all the way up to near Port Washington. So Port Washington will be included in the area that's not going to see a lot of snow. As we get closer to midnight, guess what? More of that rain continues to fall for those areas south. That is the main reason why they're not going to see as much as the areas that you see north. They're still getting snow. They're not even getting a transition over to the snow mix or even the rain. They're going to have snow overall. And then as we go past midnight at this point, still they're getting the snow. But you also notice here, this is by 6 o'clock in the morning. We do get a little bit of dry time overnight. And then on the backside of the system, remember I told you it spins counterclockwise. Well, now the winds will, as the system moves, we'll be on the backside of this, so that's where we'll have the shift in the wind direction. You see now those arrows are pointed down towards the north, or from the north going down towards the south. And you see the numbers here. The numbers are pretty much the wind speed. So gusty winds from the north, cooler temperatures, and more snow. This is going to be really your snow accumulation that you see, and most of this will be out of here by the time we make it to lunch tomorrow, Mary.
All right. Well, Holly, thank you for that. We really appreciate it. That is some good news. So a lot of people can start moving around then at that point. We'll let you get back to work and we'll check back in just a little bit. We are going to take another look around the area. Boy, it looks like there's some diminishing visibility in some of our areas. We're going to give you a first-hand look at that when our snow coverage continue here. Again, we're under a winter weather advisory here in southeastern Wisconsin. We got you covered. We're going to keep you safe right here on Fox Local and in our YouTube page as well. Make sure that you got the mobile app if you don't have it already, because we want to keep you informed. We'll be right back. Take a quick break. See you on the other side.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi everybody, I wanted to give you this quick shot here. I wanted to come right back with that because I wanted to show you the beauty of the snowfall in West Bend. If you are able to stay off the roads, and you can see the cars right behind the beautiful Christmas tree there, moving pretty slow. If you do have to be out, please take it slow. DPW crews in the Milwaukee area really urging people to slow down. So if you do have to be out, take it easy, take it slow. But as you can see, not a lot of traffic, and that's just a gorgeous shot, as we saw from Ashley Sears a little bit earlier in our winter weather advisory coverage here on Fox Local. So I just wanted to kind of capture the beauty of it. It's really gorgeous if you can just sit back with this light cover, and especially if you don't have to get out at all, only maybe to do a little bit of shoveling. It's just nice to sit back and look at that. While we're on that shot, and speaking of shoveling, I did want to remind you that we had a weather expert on, actually a health expert on the other day, talking about some of the dangers of shoveling, and it really can be, taxing on your body, especially if you have a heart condition, if you do have something that, you could be compromised in any way. But also, the tips were stay hydrated. If you have to go out and shovel, don't eat a big dinner. So don't get up and think, oh, I'm going to have a big breakfast and tackle this, because you want the blood to flow to your heart, not your stomach. I always thought, okay, get hearty, right, and get out there and shovel. No, maybe a little light snack. And also just make sure that you take it in chunks, if you will. So in other words, maybe unless you're a triathlete, if you want to get out there, maybe just do, they were saying 15-minute increments. Do 15, maybe 20 minutes, take a break. You don't have to do the whole thing all at one time. So if you do have to be out there and shovel, hopefully it's a lighter snow that we can go ahead and lift up, because it's, fun to look at. But as you know, it can also be very challenging, of course. Bringing in weather expert Tom Walks. Tom, I was just giving him a look there at West Bend. We're talking about the snow cover coming down. I got to ask you, and I know you really haven't been out there that much, but is it a light, fluffy snow that or is it going to be heavy and dense?
Yeah, it's heavy and wet, and I can tell you, Mary, that I was just out there a minute ago, and the roads are covered.
Okay.
A little bit, but again, it's kind of that slushy snow.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I was just looking at the latest 8 o'clock observations, Mary, and the radar is just starting to pick up on this as well. Again, the radar is an estimate, okay? So it's not necessarily what's happening, okay? Maybe different than what you're actually seeing. The radar is trying to estimate the precipitation type, but it's accurate here in Racine and Kenosha, because we are now seeing rain in Racine and Kenosha. We are 31 on our weather deck here in Brown Deer. It is still snowing, but what we're likely going to end up seeing over the course of the next hour or so is that transition south to north. And again, Racine and Kenosha, Janesville is also raining right now. So we're expecting that transition to continue to lift to the north here. So it's right along the border and even just north into Racine County now as well. So that transition will spin north. Holly was just talking about that counterclockwise wind flow around the area of low pressure. And you see that here where we're seeing a general eastward movement, but it's also going to be lifting a bit to the north here as well. The question will be, how far north does that rain snow line get? I think it's going to push slightly farther north, right around the I-94 corridor, Milwaukee to Waukesha and Jefferson counties. Snow to the north of there, a mix to the south. This is what we call a dry slot heading into Minneapolis. Drier air with this area of low pressure, and then look far behind that towards Fargo. See, the precipitation is coming in out of the north. That's because the wind is out of the north behind the system. That will greet us overnight, and that will send everyone back to snow as we head through the overnight hours. But again, we're getting some decent accumulation into our northern communities. Still snowing in the city of Milwaukee, but it'll be interesting to see. Again, just south in Racine, it is raining. And I think right along the lakeshore, we're going to see that transition as well with time. Now take a look at this, 8 o'clock, and we're at 31 degrees. So temperatures are going up, air pressure really going down. So if you're sensitive to that, and I know a lot of you are sensitive to big pressure changes, you're likely feeling that because the core of the low is going to come right over us. And that's going to be the case overnight tonight. Winds out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So take a look here. 34 Kenosha, raining. 33 Racine, raining. 34 Janesville, raining. Burlington, you're at 32. Waukesha, 30. West Bend, that sensor may be a little off. I'm thinking you're in the upper 20s right now. 27 in Sheboygan. So again, bulk of the snow, at least from an accumulation standpoint, will be in our northern communities. But you'll see look right behind you. Remember I mentioned the dry slot? So here's Rochester, Minnesota. You look a little to the west. That's where the dry slot is. That's heading our way as well. So we're likely going to get what we call dry slotted overnight for a time. So we will see the precipitation cease for a time, and then we get in on the backside of the system. So the bulk of the precipitation, at least snow-wise, is falling right now, especially in our northern communities, and that will remain the case into the overnight. We may dry out a little bit, and then we get in on some light snow tomorrow morning with wind, with the low visibility, and also icing. I had a viewer ask a question on social media, will we see some icing tomorrow morning? And the answer is yes, because anything that melts, and again, Racine, Kenosha, Janesville in the rain right now, as that liquid melts, or as that liquid freezes tomorrow as the temperature drops, well, it turns to ice, right? So that's going to be the concern for the morning commute as well. But I'll tell you this is the core of the system, as you can see. And I think our northern communities will get the bulk of the snow accumulation right now. Same in Milwaukee, but here's the deal. At temperature 31, it's not really stacking up a whole lot because surfaces are a little bit warmer than in Sheboygan. And if we see rain in Milwaukee, let's say in the next hour, which is the forecast, anything that has accumulated is going to melt. So that's why I think we'll get about an inch in Milwaukee, mainly tomorrow morning. While farther north, we're going to end up with 3 to 5 inches in most areas. So the farther north you go, the more snow you get. Farther south you go, not much. Of course, Kenosha, you're in the rain right now, so that makes sense, right? So this forecast is really coming in as forecast, so to speak. So take a look. You can see at 9 o'clock tonight, and this is actually new data just coming in now, and you can see the rain snow line right along the lake into Milwaukee at 9 o'clock. Now, that rain snow line down right along the Walworth, Racine, Waukesha County line, and then right over Fort Atkinson as well. Let's see what this does here by midnight, because again, it continues to push north. And Michael, give me just about another minute and a half, if you would, just because I just want to kind of go through this here quickly, is that the rain snow line is then going to continue to move to the north. So again, you see the heavy snow up here across Sheboygan and Fond du Lac counties. See the rain. I was talking I-94 corridor. This tries to push it just a hair north, maybe towards Menominee Falls and Sussex and those areas. So that's going to transition to rain. This is midnight, and now we'll take you through the overnight. Boom, here comes the north wind. Here comes the snow for everyone. This should wrap up by about 11 a.m., and that model is still showing that. So new data just coming in. We just looked at it together, right? But nothing has changed. So this is really going to end up being the same forecast as we've had. It's coming down at a good clip in Milwaukee right now. Change is expected into more of a mix within the next hour, and then everyone changes back over to snow overnight, Mary. But again, farther north, more snow you're going to get. Farther south, more of a mix and rain. Back over to you.
Really do appreciate the update there,
You
Tom,
bet.
especially knowing about some of those totals. All right, we'll check back in a little bit. We are going to take you back out on the roads right now because we've been checking in with our photojournalist, Jake, who's out on the roads. I can see his camera right now. I want you to see his vantage point as Jake is driving along the roads because, Jake, as we have seen, these road conditions right now just seem to be getting, worse and worse. I know that you obviously are in a different area right now. There you go. Jake Salzburn right there. Tell us exactly where you are. And as far as like the road conditions, especially compared to where you were just a little bit ago, give us an idea of how they're doing, or, how the salt and the brine, if the salt and brine is out there, how they're affecting the roads.
Yeah, Mary, this is this area of the east of the road where I was earlier was significantly worse. There was a small little path of cars that I've been driving for hours and hours, kind of on that sort of line, and so that path has been kind of nice and shaped for cars, I should say, with a little bit of drifting snow from here and there. And then I started getting up closer, and I started seeing these flashing lights ahead of me, and it turns out that it was a plow that was ahead of me. So the first plow that we've seen, at least that I have driven with here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And a lot of cars are just kind of funneling in behind this, kind of on a better path. I can start feeling that salt and grain on the brine, kind of in on that road, so I can sort of feel that in my tires and kind of getting that grip a little bit better. There's more of a wider path. It may not look like it here on Route 23, but there's a little bit of a wider path and a little bit thing, but nobody has really gone into the left-hand lane. Everyone's just kind of funneled in behind here. Again, this is a 65 mile an hour route, and right now we're going 30 miles an hour, just below 30 miles an hour, just kind of all funneling in here and just letting the crew just kind of do its thing, and put down salt, put down brine, and kind of clear a path for us here on Route 23.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy, you have some skill out there, Jake. I tell you, I like how you have slowed down and you can see those lights kind of guiding the way, in a way, to have a light moment, a little bit like Rudolph, right? We all need a little Rudolph in our life during these events, especially if you have to be out on the road.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird kind of coming up. I thought maybe an accident or something was happening because I saw a bunch of brake lights. I saw a bunch of flashing lights up ahead, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was just a plow, and it was leading the way for us, just like Rudolph does every Christmas.
Yeah, sometimes that is good. And yeah, sometimes people have to be on the roads if you have to work, or you know, maybe had to run out for a quick emergency. So it's important that you see those cars really being respectful and letting the plows do their thing. So we really do appreciate it. We of course got to get a check with you in just a little bit. We're going to let you continue to drive, monitor for any accidents, monitor for any you know, events going on right there. But we appreciate you giving us this real bird's eye view. So we'll check back in a bit, but in the meantime, Jake, stay safe, and we will see you shortly. Thank you. Yeah, he's doing a great job out there. It's not an easy thing to do, to navigate and talk, but again, he's staying safe. We do want to give you a live look right now. This camera, it's kind of funny, Michael Atterbury, and I'm going to bring in Michael. This is our producer, Michael Atterbury. I told him earlier, I warned him that he may be on. Just one of the nicest guys that you'll ever know, but also just so thorough and wonderful. We really appreciate Michael's expertise back there in the booth. Michael, you grew up, you know Winter, you grew up in Rockford. You've been here for many, many years. I mean, let me go ahead and bring up your microphone right now. What, you know, tell us from your vantage point, you know, from everything that you're seeing and all of your knowledge. I mean, how do things look with you from your vantage point? If I can get your mic up there, I'm so sorry. Okay, Mike, I don't think I have your microphone. We're gonna get Mike back. Rats. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We can't hear you, but we're gonna hear you at some point because we got to hear from Michael. But in the meantime, let's go. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at, as we toss to break, I'm going to give you a look right now if that camera, our DOT camera was freezing just a little bit, but I wanted to give you a look at the roads. You know, sometimes it's frozen just like it does there, but at least want to give you a look at one of our engineering cameras there. That's at Capitol Drive right now. Roads look a little bit clearer there, but we'll take another look. We'll try to unfreeze that camera and bring it back at the other side of the break. Keep it right here on Fox Local for your winter weather advisory coverage. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Back now with a look at conditions right there. Look at this at 43 and 108th right now. You can see, look right there on those street lights. You can see how fast, that's a perfectly crystal clear shot at how fast that snow is coming down. Our cameras tend to freeze a little bit in conditions like this, but yeah, that's an idea at how good those tracking conditions are right now. You can really see that snow coming down at a very good clip right there. And as we take a look at the roads, as you can see, there are plows out there. The traffic hopefully moving a little bit slower, but again, some of the visibility can be a little bit hindered and a little bit reduced as we take a look at one of our traffic cams in that area. We have seen that snow coming down heavier and heavier as we've been checking in with Jake there out on the roadways. He's been doing just a great job keeping everybody abreast, of course, as to what's going on, but I think that it's just a good reminder there. If you do have to be out, take it easy, take it slow. So, Tom, we saw from Jake's, and just from that shot there at 108th, you can see the snow coming down there on the street signs or the street lights right there. It looks as though it's picking up momentum, like it's gaining some speed. So we're not wrong to say that, right?
Right, and it is getting wetter as well as the temperature gets warmer. So it's kind of that heavy, wet snow tonight. Let's take a look here, Mary, at the radar, because as the streets again are snow covered, we are dealing with the snow in Milwaukee. However, just heard from a viewer not long ago on Facebook who said that he was driving from Oak Creek to Racine, and he said it was snowing in Oak Creek, raining and sleeting in Racine. And we are getting reports of rain in Racine and Kenosha. Also heard from a viewer about 15 minutes ago of rain in Lake Geneva and reports of rain in Janesville. So the transition is starting. Question is, how far north does that make it? I think it's going to make it to at least Milwaukee and Waukesha within about the next 1 to 2 hours, possibly just a bit higher than that as well. So we'll see exactly how that ends up. But again, just out ahead of it, it's a heavy snow, but it's also a very wet snow as well. And it is starting to pile up and accumulate a bit on area roadways. So this is coming in pretty much as forecast. I think the question now over the next hour or so is how far north does this mixed area come? Then you can see we dry out, right? West of La Crosse, that's what we call a dry slot. The air pressure is actually getting pretty low now. So if you're sensitive to that, you might be feeling that. Well, as the area of low pressure comes overhead, we're going to dry out for a bit overnight. And then we're going to get in on the north side of the system, the backside, and that's going to bring in the wind, more snow for everyone, and some ice for the morning commute, as anything that's been rained on and some snow melt will turn back to ice. So this is what it looks like over downtown, still snowing at this point, but notice the temperature up to 31 degrees. Air pressure very low, and the air temperature is going to be going up here. So take a look. 34 and raining Kenosha, 33 raining in Racine, 34 raining in the Janesville area. So that gives you an idea. A couple of degrees makes all the difference, right? And that's what we're dealing with here. Now up to the north, 27 Sheboygan and Fond du Lac. We have got our photojournalists driving around in the Fond du Lac area, and roads are obviously snow covered and slick across the board tonight. But the snow that's falling in Milwaukee will likely start to wash away a little bit as we go throughout the night, as we see just a little bit more of that warmer air coming in, and that will convert the snow over to sleet, possibly rain, maybe some freezing rain where the rain would freeze on contact with the surface. Then we get a little bit dry slotted here for a time overnight, and then this is the backside. This joins us overnight, and along with the northerly direction of the snow, we're also going to be dealing with the strong winds. And let me get into the science of that. Remember how I talked about the air pressure being very low right now? That's interesting because, well, number one, a lot of folks are sensitive to that. And I hear from so many folks that have issues when it comes to very low air pressure. That's going to continue to drop overnight. But as the low comes overhead, that's the lowest pressure point, okay? And then it starts moving out. Why does that matter? Well, when it starts moving out, now you have a big pressure gradient, a big pressure difference between this, the area of low pressure, and high pressure off to the west, and that's what creates the wind. So that's why we're going to have the wind and the snow on the backside, because it's very low air pressure here, higher pressure to the west, and that's what's going to generate those winds coming in out of the north. So let me show you Sky Vision Plus here, and then we'll toss it back to Mary in a moment, where you'll notice as we go to 9 o'clock, so less than an hour from now, there's the rain snow line. And I'm going to be interested to see where, this is again model data, so it'll be interesting to see where exactly it ends up. And I want to caution you, because I heard from someone on Facebook say, hey, your radar is wrong. It's raining when it's showing snow. That is the radar estimation of what's going on. It's estimating it based on the temperature profile of the atmosphere and so on. So it may not be accurate, right? I mean, it may show snow when it's actually rain or vice versa. So do keep that in mind, that especially if you're close to that rain-snow transition line, it may not be exactly accurate. Then we transition over, again, to all rain in many spots, especially the I-94 corridor and south, through at least midnight to 1 a.m. Note the wind, still out of the south. Northern counties, you're in the snow. That's why Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, West Bend, you're in the 3 to 5 inch snow range out of this system. And again, it's a heavier wet variety of snow, so it's sticking to the streets, but that's also more compact, if you will, than a fluffier snow. There's actually a winter storm warning just to your north tonight, including Manitowoc, for heavier snows just to your north. Now look at this. 6 in the morning, what do you notice here? North winds, right? So we talked about getting on the backside of that system, the pressure gradient that's going to increase the wind, and we all switch over to snow because temperatures are going to drop. So again, all of those ingredients, the wind and the snow equal low visibility, right, for the morning commute. And then dropping temperatures means anything that's wet from snow melt or rain is going to turn to ice. So we have all of those three factors for the morning commute tomorrow. And I would raise the point or the argument here that I think tomorrow morning is going to be more impactful than what we're seeing tonight, because we're going to have more traffic on the roads. Then by 11 a.m., we start to wrap things up. So again, Mary, here's the bottom line right now. The forecast still very much on track. Some are starting to see rain. Others are continuing to see some decent snow. Yeah,
I'm getting a question here, Tom. People are worried about the freezing rain. Obviously, tomorrow, if people have to get out for school, for work, it seems like from everything that you're saying that the freezing rain, less likely there because of the lack of the warm air aloft, as you say. Should they be worried about freezing rain, or is this just more of a tomorrow morning? You're still going to see probably some patches of ice that people need to be careful. Say that you're walking to the school bus, for example, or driving the kids even a short distance to school. What say you on that?
So good question. So two different scenarios here. The freezing rain, I think that the folks are referring to there has to do with tonight. And let me go back to the radar real quick here. Actually, let me show you temperatures. Because let me explain what freezing rain is. Freezing rain is rain. Okay, so it's just rain. It's falling as liquid. But when that liquid hits the ground and temperatures are below freezing, or objects are below freezing, like a roadway or a tree or a car, what happens? It turns to ice, right? So that's what we call freezing rain. So even though on the radar it might look like rain, right, or it might be raining, if the temperature is just below freezing at your location, that could freeze. Okay, so yes, you need to be aware of freezing rain tonight on walkways and driveways and things like that. Yes, you need to be aware of that. And then number two, tomorrow morning, that's kind of the refreeze. So if we do melt, then we're going to freeze up again. So yes, there's a freezing rain potential tonight. And Mary, just a distinction, sleet is ice pellets. That's ice falling from the sky versus liquid falling and then freezing on contact with the surface. Great question by our viewers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tom, thank you so much.
You
we
bet.
Appreciate everything that you're giving us a play-by-play there. Where would we be without you? Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Tom Wachs keeping us safe in this winter weather advisory land that we have here in Wisconsin. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tom. We're going to take a quick break and come back. We want to check in with Jake on the roads, of course, and give you a couple reminders if you do have to be out and about, as we always do here in Wisconsin on the roads. It's a good refresher because we had a pretty mild winter last winter. It's packing a punch even in December. So we're going to take a quick break, give you those tips, and give you another look at the roadways when we come back here on Fox Local. So glad you're with us tonight. Keep it right here. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Going to give you a live look right now at 4145. That's from one of our cameras right there at Blue Mound. And you can see there that snow certainly accumulating, especially as we have been in coverage now for about an hour and a half. You see that the snow is falling, not at a completely heavy pace there, not at a dramatic pace, but enough to cover those roads. You see the side areas there that aren't plowed. You can see that I'm no mathematician, I'm no weather expert. It looks like a good inch, maybe a little bit more on the ground. But you can see there that the plows have been doing their job, but those roads are slick. They are snow covered. Luckily, not a lot of traffic there. So hopefully the crews can do their thing, plow the roads, lay the salt, and keep those roadways clear, because a lot of you got to head to work, head to school tomorrow. So that is a live look right now at the conditions. For even more of a better look, if you will, we're going to check back with our photojournalist Jake Salzman right now, who is, well, I'm going to let Jake tell us exactly where he is, because again, we are seeing that you are still behind. You are still behind that salt truck there, Jake. It looks like, is that the same one that you had been talking about a little bit earlier that was kind of lighting your way, so to speak, kind of like Rudolph?
Yes, that is the same salt truck, the same plow that was what we called Rudolph just that last little bit. Right now, Mary, I am still on the same road, still following the same salt truck with a plow. There's been a lot more cars on the other side of the road trying to get around, necessarily if they're going to work, trying to get there in time. Just know that don't try to go around some of these crew members. They're trying their best to clear a pathway for us, for drivers like us going on the road. So having them be able to just do their job without worrying about a car maybe kind of flying up past them is definitely something to look out for. But when it comes to these road conditions, there's a lot more drifting snow. The wind has somewhat died down a little bit. I am in Sheboygan County, and I've made my way finally all the way from Fond du Lac to Sheboygan County, and the wind has died down just a little bit. The drifting snow has been there just a little bit more from all this, and right now, I just took a look back, actually, Mary. We have about 20 cars in this sort of line, 20-something cars that are just following this plow that is trying to create a path for us. But conditions have just been kind of the same, to be honest. There's not a lot of differences in there. There's a decent amount more snow, but being behind this plow has kind of just created a better and more safer way to travel here on Route 23.
Yeah, it is. You know, I got to tell you, I remember years ago having to come up from Illinois. I was living in Madison, and I relied on that along the way. And I thought, I'll never be mad at a plow driver or a clearer again, because I really needed that. That and the semi can also be a big help. So I think a lot of people, it looks as though, as you said, a lot more traffic on the other side. But from your side, as you're right there, you said you're in Sheboygan County, Jake?
Yes,
yeah.
Sheboygan County, just past Sheboygan Falls, just about to get into Sheboygan.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Yeah, but a lot of people, looks as though just kind of giving that driver there lots of room, which is so important right now. Interesting as well, Jake, one thing I want to note, I don't know if you mentioned this, but as you look at the other lane, there's a lot more snow coverage there to tell you if those roads are not treated. If you're in an area that may not be treated by the plows and the trucks out there, you're dealing with a lot more hazardous conditions. It looks like there's a good pile next to you.
Yeah, there is. There is a decent amount of snow there. I actually got into that lane just a little bit just to kind of experience it before getting back over in the cleared lane here behind this plow. And there was a lot more slickness to it. There felt like there was not a lot of traction with my tires trying to grip the road if I had to maybe get out of the way of some sort of object or thing that was in the way. It was kind of hard for there. I had to slow down a little bit to get back into my lane, and brakes were a little bit locking up just a little bit more. So try to take it precaution, take it a little bit ease. I understand that some people may be frustrated that you're going 35 miles an hour on a 65 mile an hour road, but we're only doing it just to be safe and to get to our locations safer.
Oh, absolutely. And as you know, you mentioned that there are only so many plows out there. There's only so many things that, so many crews that can be out there. So when we look at that from your driving vantage point, you look at that left lane. I got to tell you, that's a night and day difference there between the plow that has been able to clear that road versus, oh, thank you there, Jake, versus the left lane that hasn't been cleared. You can see that there's a lot of snow cover on there. It's cold out there. Could be a lot of ice underneath there, but also it's just, that looks like a treacherous path. I wouldn't want to be on that. We saw that car pass you just a little bit ago, but in terms of the visibility, that looks pretty clear. But in terms of being in that left lane there, I'd want to go real slow, because you just never know when you could do a little bit of a spin out, especially as you mentioned, you're in a new car. You have new tires, and if your tires aren't great, it doesn't take too much to do a little slipping and a little sliding.
Yeah, no, it doesn't take a lot at all to be able to lose that traction, to lose that, especially if you're in an older car. Maybe you don't have those winter tires, those brand new tires in, and you have an older set of tires. Just one little, hit on the steering wheel to change the trajectory of your tires can cause any sort of spin out when it comes to older tires, older cars. And even with me in a newer car and a newer traction of tires, making those turns in areas back in Fond du Lac when in the side roads and the streets were all covered, trying to make a turn there, you have a lot more of that slippage there, and I was slipping there, so I couldn't even imagine how difficult it is when it comes to an older car or an older car with bad tires.
Jake, one of the pieces of good news here, I got to tell you, since we've been with you for an hour and a half now, we haven't seen any accidents off to the side. I thought you said that there may have been one situation where even cars pulled over that were in distress, maybe had a flat tire, maybe, again, batteries can wear out during this cold snap that we've had. It can be a multitude of car issues. You really haven't seen any, or at least you haven't shown us any, right?
No, I haven't seen really much of any sort where here on a faster route highway where you can maybe kind of step off to the side a little bit to fix some sort of issue that you have. I haven't seen any car on the side of the road. I haven't seen anything of a car in a ditch or a car getting maybe looked at or try to get jumped, maybe with a car battery being so cold. I haven't necessarily seen that. Now, back where I had to get off maybe for a little bit to go to the gas station, and I saw a bunch of people that was getting in line to kind of put air in their tires, get in line to be able to do those things, to be able to make sure that they were ready to go, to be able to continue on their path and maybe get home safely, having those pumped up tires and not having to worry about those sort of situations.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that is some good news there. A lot of people, again, heeding those warnings to stay off the roads. We know those crews are working round the clock right there. And a lot of them, as we mentioned earlier, happy to do so, because a lot of these people, this is their livelihood. Those plow truck drivers, the people who lay the salt, that lay the brine, that clear the roads, this is their livelihood. So a lot of them will be working round the clock to keep us safe, and especially tomorrow morning, with it being just a Tuesday tomorrow. A lot of people got to get to school and to work. So again, it looks like you're going at a pretty easy clip there, pretty good. We're going to let you continue to get there. Jake, I don't want to take you too far off the path, because we got about 20 minutes left in coverage. Is there any way safely, I'm going off script here, for you to get to any residential area, just to show us maybe if those areas have been treated, or is it just too far and maybe too tricky to get to? Feel free to say no.
I am coming up on an exit here in about a quarter of a mile, just passing a sign there, that potentially I could get off to show a side road if need be. I can get off right now to kind of show that sort of road. I won't be speeding, though, to try to get there.
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't want you to do that. I just kind of wanted to see how those exit ramps were, and just to see if any of those areas right around there were plowed and were taken care of, because again, yeah, the main roads, as we see there, the highways and some of those overpasses, again, getting some really good treatment, but sometimes it's those secondaries that just don't fare as well. That's where I always worry about, is getting off when you're on that main road, getting off there to navigate to your house, wherever you're living. But yeah, you can see, again, a lot more snow coverage there, roads that haven't been plowed, roads that maybe were pre-treated, but maybe not treated right now. How does it feel for you right now? How are the conditions?
All these conditions are a little bit sketchy, I would say. That there's a lot more less grip when it comes to the turning there, trying to brake there, trying to look to my right to make sure that there was no one coming or anything of that nature. My brakes kind of locked up on me just a little bit more, and as you can see, compared to what the road that we were just on, even with one plow on it, there wasn't necessarily fully cleared, but it was cleared enough to have a path and sort of have a traction for our tires. And now coming off on some of the side streets here, off of those main roads, there's not really much of a lane. There's none of it really much. I'm kind of making my own per se off of just muscle memory of what a 2-lane road would be,
Right.
And try to follow some other car paths here in Sheboygan, and there's a lot less traction. There is more of a slipperiness of trying to change a little bit of a lane, for sure.
Yeah, I can see that there. Yeah, both the left and the right is you just it seems like both lanes are just pretty much identical, and the only clear path there is probably from cars that have been traveled there. Just not a lot of clear roadway. At least, Jake, from my vantage point, you have a pretty good path there. That the snow hasn't really created any obstructions. You have pretty good visibility, at least from where I'm sitting. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. The visibility is what feels like kind of a nighttime visibility.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily anything prohibited because of the snow or wind or the amount of snow that is falling here in Sheboygan, but there is still a lot of snow covers. There is still a lot of that, and yeah, I'm kind of following a path that someone else has created, kind of just finding the tire marks from another car that's from here earlier, and just trying to follow that, because I know that's going to have the most amount of traction when it comes to snow-covered lanes.
Thank you for going off the beaten path. I really do appreciate that. I know I took you off course there, but I just wanted to give an illustration on how those side streets on some of the less traveled roads may be, just to, again, underscore the importance of slowing down. And if you can stay off the roads, yeah, please do so. So, yeah, thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. All right, Jake, we'll let you drive. We'll check back before the end of our time together here. We really do appreciate it. Let's give you a quick shot there as we transition there at another one of our cameras there. We showed you that earlier at Moreland Road, as you can see there. And it just looks as though that area is a little less snow covered than the area that we just showed you with photojournalist Jake Salzburn right there. But that's, yeah, a little bit better, but still pretty much a slow go. It's a little bit less dicey, so to speak. But still, nevertheless, boy, that's a tough one. Let's take you back into the control room with Michael Atterbury, because we can hear you now, right, Mike?
You sure can.
Oh, great. Thank you for being behind the scenes tonight. We often see Delaney on here on our Fox local coverage.
You gotta change of pace
and now we got
change of face.
We got to change of pace and change of face, and you're wearing your tie. Your mom would be proud. We were joking, but seriously, earlier, you're from Rockford. You know conditions in Wisconsin. This is nothing new to you. It looks as though these roads are covered and we got a handle on this. But from your vantage point, because Michael, you've got about 25 cameras in front of you on our screens there, so you're able to look around the area. Give us a feel from what you're seeing.
Well, every single DOT camera that you've pulled up, I've been fishing through them for the last hour and a half, and pretty much everywhere in southeastern Wisconsin right now, it looks very similar. All of these roads, they're a little messy. It looks like the plows have gotten to them to some degree, but you know that precipitation is still going to be coming down and making those roads messy from what I've seen. The one good thing I will say is I haven't seen a lot of crashes yet as we go about this. And on top of that, it looks like most people are taking it pretty slow too, which is important. I might not even go home. Yeah, second wind.
Appreciate you being part of our coverage. See who I get to work with every day? He is fun, he is great, and he is a smart guy. He's on it. We want you to stay smart and stay safe, so we're going to continue our coverage here as we're dealing with a winter weather advisory here in southeastern Wisconsin. Going to bring you up to date in just a moment, but we'll take a quick break and be right back. Keep it right here on Fox Local.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to our winter weather advisory. We're giving you all kinds of coverage right now here on Fox Local. We want you to stay safe. Before we get to Tom Walks, I just want to tell you about something that we just got in. Postal officials, they are asking for the public's cooperation to keep those mailboxes, the steps, the sidewalks, any area that they have to access your property, they're asking please keep that clear. We talked a little bit about the shoveling. If you have salt, do them a solid and lay that down for them, because they have to make sure that they have obviously a clear path so that they can deliver your mail. Also UPS workers, even the Amazon workers, when you got packages, particularly this time of year coming in, really important to keep those sidewalks clear of the snow from the curbside boxes there all the way up to your house. They should be clear of snow and ice as well, because they want to have traction, because again, they could be carrying multiple packages. We don't want any of our postal workers there to slip on any of the steps. They also are saying those overheads, if you can, please make sure that they're clear and free of snow and ice. So we would really appreciate your help on that. We're bringing you in now to the weather office right now. Tom Walks is gearing up. I know he's there. He's checking numbers. And there's Holly Baker. Hi, Holly. Hi. Are you ready to go here before I pot you up? You good? We good?
Step stools.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need that step stool. Yeah, you're a shorty like me. We do appreciate it, though. You know, we've seen the shots from our photojournalist Jake out and about, and it seems as though while that snow, Holly, isn't coming down at a ferocious clip, if you will, it's coming down enough to cover the roads, you know, with a nice cover, and not all the crews can get to every roadway. So we are seeing some roads really, really looking pretty treacherous. What's the latest right now? Do you have any snow totals or accumulation, or if you can give us an idea?
We don't have any snow totals as of right now. Not really much of an accumulation either that we're seeing for some areas. I mean, it's very minor, but I doubt any area has already reached 1 inch of snow. Not just yet. We're definitely continuing to watch that. I think the bulk of the accumulation is going to come in the morning time, because most of the rain / snow that we're seeing, it's more that wet snow. So when it falls, it kind of melts when it's on the surface. As we get into tomorrow's forecast, Mary, we're going to have the northerly flow of the wind. So all of the snow that melted tonight will basically refreeze again. So that's going to cause some disruptions whenever we're traveling. So it could be some icing on the roads. And then we'll also get on the back side of that system, that's going to be the snow that we're going to be getting as well. So that is going to be the accumulation. And what's going to help that accumulation is we could possibly see a little bit more of some lake enhancement snow tomorrow morning. So that's going to help feed more of that snow to fall, but mainly the very, very northern tier of our area. That's going to be where we see 4 to 6. Now, northern tier meaning North Fond du Lac County and north of that, and then North Sheboygan County and north of that, we'll see the 4 to 6 inches. Areas south of that, that's where we're going to start to see a little bit more of the 3 to 5. Now, these are the areas that are just north of Milwaukee County. So some areas like Ozaukee County, all of those areas will see it. Even West Bend, they could even see a little bit more of the 3 to 5. Now, when you get closer to Milwaukee and south of Milwaukee, we are going to get maybe a trace to 1 inch, very close to 1 inch for a lot of our areas though, but not a lot of snow for those southern communities because we've had the snow mix that we've seen transition over through the night here. So that's what we're really watching, is really the we're watching the snow mix transition. Tomorrow we're going to be watching for the strong wind as well as watching for more of that snow to fall. So we have cold temperatures to arrive too. So it's a lot of different factors, but tomorrow morning is going to be really more of a messier commute than what we're dealing with tonight. Tonight is really just the start, but tomorrow is going to be where we see most of the action early in the morning, Mary. I can't hear you, Mary.
Thank you, Holly. We're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back. Keep it here on Fox Local because we want to check in with Ashley Sears. Keep it here.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage, you guys. Hopefully you are staying safe and you are staying warm. We really appreciate you being here with us. We want to keep you safe. And for that, we are going to take a look right now at Port Washington, where we find Ashley Sears. Boy, what a turnaround she has made. We saw her a little bit earlier in West Bend, and now we see her out in Port Washington. And you are right by City Hall there, right, Ashley?
Yeah, we're right near City Hall, and I want to tell you, Mary, we drove from West Bend to Port Washington along Highway 33, and we were headed eastbound, and I was kind of expecting maybe the snow to let up a little bit, maybe for it to become a little wet, but it really did not let up. The snow is more, I don't know, I'm no weather expert, it seems to be wetter snow, but the roads here are slick and they're slushier than what we were seeing out in West Bend. I don't know if that's because there's the accumulation or what was happening, but out here, if you take a look at the roads, they're covered. We did see quite a few snow plows out on the roads here clearing some of this away, but it is slow out there. It is slick, and you know, just take it easy if you're out on the roads here, but not a lot has changed in terms of the snowfall from here to West Bend. We were expecting maybe some rain, but we're not seeing any of that, Mary.
Looks as though it's coming down at a pretty, decent clip, but heavier than it was before. But okay, Ashley, thank you. Glad to know that you're safe and glad to know that you guys took it real easy. So really appreciate the look there. At least it's pretty. It's a pretty snowfall. So if they can stay off the roads, please, we are urging everybody to do so. Ashley, we'll see you later on Fox 6 at 9 and 10. Appreciate it. So as we take a look right there, as you can see there, the accumulation is definitely starting. We're going to take you back now to the weather office. Holly Baker standing by right now to give us another update here as we watch the snow continue to fall down.
Yes, so we are continuing to watch it come down. As I look in my peripheral, I can see the snow just coming down. And Ashley's right. This is more of a wet type of snow. So it's going to be melting very fast. It's got a lot of moisture or water within some of these snowflakes. But tomorrow will be a little bit better as far as accumulation. So tonight, we're really not going to expect too much of it because of the snow is wet. Versus tomorrow, we could expect a little more. Now, as far as those snow totals, most of those snow totals are going to fall to the north. Now, Mary, if you would like, you could take G1. You can take G1 here and I'll show you those snow forecasted totals. So you see where it's that very dark, almost violent blue just above Fond du Lac and Sheboygan. So areas north of that, along with the northern portion of Sheboygan County and Fond du Lac County, they're going to see roughly 4 to 6 inches because they're going to get all of the snow. And then as you work your way southward, you see that those numbers get smaller and smaller. 3 to 5 inches for West Bend, Beaver Dam, and even far out to even the Dells. And then you go down to areas like Waukesha and Ozaukee County, they're going to see roughly 1 to 3 inches, and areas all south of that will have at least a trace to 1 inch. So not a lot of snow to be falling for those southern communities versus northern communities. Over to you, Mary.
All right. Well, thank you for the update there. We really do appreciate that, Holly. Thank you. As we look at that map, we're going to take you to the live scene right now. We have been following Jake, of course, right now, our photojournalist out on the roadways. And so, Jake, as we take a look right now at the roadways, we know that you are back at it in the Sheboygan County area. It looks like you stayed on those residential streets, huh?
Yeah, I did, Mary. I stayed on those residential streets. I wanted to get more of that feel to it, where the people maybe are getting closer to their homes if they're coming back off of work, and wanted to kind of feel it. And it is very slick. It is very tough to brake. Make sure to brake early, go a little bit slower than the speed limit to always get yourself better traction and to be able to get somewhere safely.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks as though, from what I can see right now, that could be some of the traffic, but it looks like the plows have done their jobs out there, and it looks as though, again, a lot of people not on the road, so it's allowing them to clear those roads more effectively, lay the salt down, and make sure that those roads at least are passable, particularly as the snow continues to fall and people got to get out in the morning.
Yes, indeed. They have cleared out a little bit of a pathway. The salt has kind of been the pre-salt that they have done has definitely kicked in, and for people that have to get out there in the morning, hopefully that they can get out and clear it a lot so that they can get to work safely in the morning.
Oh, Jake, you've done a tremendous job out there in our yet-to-be-named Storm Tracker. That's not the official name, but you're in our new truck, so we really do appreciate it. Thank you for all your hard work. Stay safe. You're going to get us an update at 9 and 10. We'll look for that then. Thank you, Jake. Really appreciate it. All right. Well, we're going to continue to track, obviously, the snow falling. Tom, Holly, back in the weather office there. We are under, of course, that winter weather advisory. We're going to have latest updates, the latest on the road conditions. And as we saw Ashley in Port Washington, we're going to get another update from Ashley in Port Washington where we saw some accumulation there on the ground. But great to have you along here on Fox Local, our YouTube page, and, of course, our Fox Local mobile app. Stay safe if you have to be out there. Take it slow and continue to keep it right here, and we'll bring you updates.